Welcome to the Inside View. I'm Renzulli, your host. As always, thank you for watching. This is my series of interviews with all of the candidates who are running for Common Council in this year's November election. The format is as follows. Each interview is limited to 30 minutes. Each candidate gets asked the same set of questions. With me today is Sally Casler, who's running in Ward 2 on the Democrat and Independent line. Sally, thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. Thanks for doing this.
Good morning, Ralph. I'm
Good morning.
happy to be here.
Good. Let's start off with a brief personal background on you. Tell me about your background.
Well, as many people know, the Casler name is deeply rooted in the community of Little Falls because my ancestry goes far back to the Palatine German settlement. And our family farm was established in 1791. And I was raised on our farm. So a family of 8 children. I was one of the 8. And my parents are Irving and Shirley Casler, both passed on now. But the Casler family name is deeply rooted in the community. Community service from my grandfather, Philo William Casler, that started a bookcase manufacturing company, down to my dad, who was active in the Board of Education in Little Falls, also the National Farmers Organization in the farming community. But our farm is just outside of the city of Little Falls in the town of Little Falls. So, of course, we went to school here. I graduated from Little Falls High. And, we loved the community growing up as children. Walking in the streets for the businesses. And I went to elementary school at Jefferson Street School. And I recall when the bridge used to be there to join the south side to Canal Place and to the city in general. And I really miss that. It's too bad it had to be demolished, but who knows, maybe one day it'll be rebuilt. Wishful thinking, maybe. But, it's kind of nostalgic, but I know a lot of people that still live here and have come back that used to live here have that same nostalgia, and a lot of people have come back, which is good to see. But anyway, getting on with my family and my start, I was influenced by my parents, both, teaching me the hard work ethic of growing up on a farm, having to partake in the chores and balancing that with school and sports, and that we were involved in music lessons. We sang in a choir, as a matter of fact, my family. And my aunt used to take us up to the Van Allens, it was, the nursing home, and we'd sing for the elderly, and we'd sing for the I think it was the 4th floor that had the elderly citizens in there that, had to be near health care.
Right.
So those were good memories and formative. I attended the Universalist Church. Everything was contained in the community for the most part. And I think the furthest we really ever had to go was Herkimer. There used to be Herkimer clothing, and, we'd get some clothes there. Once in a great while, later on, we'd go to the mall, but
Right.
mostly we had a J.C. Penney, so we did.
We had a lot of
there.
stores at one time.
Yeah, and we miss the good old days. We miss the good old days, you and I. I know things change, and I guess that's part of why I'm here today, is to be involved in the change and resurgence and vibrancy of Little Falls.
Yeah. So my next question was, why are you running?
Why am I running? Because honestly, it's because of my history and my dad and mom both being involved in the community. I just actually felt a gut feeling to do it. So honestly, it sounds corny, but I said, you know what? And I had thought about it for several years, seeing, what does a council person do, Maybe I should start getting involved. So, and then the time came, and the time was now, and somebody said, why don't you run? So I said, well, you know what? I think I will. If I don't do it now, I probably never will.
Yeah. Okay.
So, it's like, and I'm always trying to grow in some way. And some part of that is you got to get out of your comfort zone sometimes and just put your foot in and go forward.
I agree.
Dive in.
Yeah. Yeah. So thinking about what an older person does, what's your definition of a really effective older person?
Well, I'd like to think, and from what I've read and witnessed, some involvement with your own initial ward, and also that ultimately ties you to the whole community because you're making citizens for the whole city of Little Falls. So that's one of them, making sometimes tough decisions, but overseeing budgets and making changes when necessary, coming up with possible new solutions, and just talking with everybody to educate yourself on what the best solutions might be.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
what is it about your skills or your experience that would help you to be that effective older person that you just talked about?
Well, I've served on some committees as well as, I'll tell you about my work experience. And I had my own dairy farm when I was married, and I lived in Newport, New York. And our marriage dissolved, but we had 3 children when we managed a farm together. Our children were brought up on that farm. But I had to oversee budgets there, hire help, fire help, do the managerial skills of ordering inventory and networking with agribusinesses on the phone and face-to-face and traveling to go get supplies and everything, And I fully help because I know how to milk cows and I know how to work very hard and for long hours. So.
Okay.
And then when that dissolved, I got a career in social services, a civil service job with Herkimer County Department of Social Services, and in that field I did, the title was called Social Welfare Examiner. I would interview clients that needed assistance in various ways, whether it was cash assistance, medical, food stamps, the Home Energy Assistance Program. I did outreach and went to communities when they asked me to, because employees would take turns. We'd go up to Old Forge and do an outreach up there, because Old Forge is way up there, but it's part of Herkimer County. So I'd done that. I've worked with the Office of the Aging, with the older population. And I have a sociology degree. So I've studied, groups and various, human issues in general. So 25 years of experience in Herkimer County Social Services gave me a lot of insight into, the needs of many. So,
what do you see as the 3 top issues facing Little Falls right now?
Well, number 1 is our fiscal health. We got to get that, we got to get a grip on that. And that's going to take, day to day, week to week, month to month scrutinizing of how we're spending. And, we got to buckle down and just do the necessities we don't want to lose any of the great amenities that we have, so trying to preserve them. And I think it's going to be just also being a little creative in thought and thinking of possible new ways to get, well, I don't know if it's going to help the fiscal part, but I think community involvement, more people should show up at the city council meetings. And I propose maybe even having public forums to keep people involved, and so they have more of a stake in it, and they're, they feel like they're, needed in some way, and and maybe even get some, youth to learn how city government works, and they could do some mentoring programs for that, perhaps, and
So you named one problem, which was the fiscal side. Can you give me two more?
Okay, two more. Let's see. Well, we need to create jobs for sure. We need to keep the businesses that are here and attract new businesses for sure, because they're a definite necessity for all that live here and beyond. Let's see. Fiscal health. A third thing. Well,
tell me how we talked about being an effective alderman. You mentioned those two things. How, as an alderman, or not an alderman, I should correct myself, as an alder person, how would you contribute to those issues?
well, I would do research on it so I know what I'm talking about, and I would welcome communication and being on the same page with everybody, and that's long time discussions and hashing things over before a decision is made, so we research all possible avenues and make sound decisions before it's written into law.
So let's drill down a little bit further and talk a little bit about Ward 2, where you're running. What are the top three issues in Ward 2?
I've been speaking with some of my ward, and some of them are noise ordinances, whether it's loud vehicles, sometimes dogs barking at early morning, or I have witnessed some early morning dog barking, but it's usually short-lived, so it's hard to contain them all the time, obviously. But there is quite loud vehicles.
Yes, there are. I live on Monroe Street.
And and also, I live on Jackson that meets Monroe Street, in the intersection that eventually goes down to the Y, and also Western Park, and people fly through those stop signs. As a matter of fact, Saturday morning, I was on my way to the doings at the canal.
Oh.
And you always have to slow down because people roll through those stop signs, or they but the other day, they didn't even hesitate. It was a van, and they just came zooming through. Seriously. So that's a real problem.
Okay, that's one.
That's one.
That's a good one.
Yeah. There are some city streets. Well, I don't know if they're private drives or city streets, so they may be private. I was up on Macrone Road for the first time, and I don't know. I guess it's a city road still, but I'm not certain. That's a very rough road. So some of these sidewalks are very broken as well throughout the city. That's a concern of mine, and I'm sure a lot of others, because a lot of us walk, for exercise and enjoyment and just getting about. So a third thing. in my work, well, the homes, that's been a lot of concern. A lot of the homes that are vacant,
Zombie properties.
yes. There, and even some that are lived in are in a little bit of disarray. But that has to do partly with economics, I'm sure. We all are feeling that.
So as a member of the council, how would you impact those three things?
Well, it would be budgeting to fix the sidewalks, I'm sure. So that's an additional expense. But we do have city employees, so I'm sure they have other priorities. We always have to prioritize what is the most urgent to repair first. So
Right.
but
So if you were elected, how would you stay connected to the people in Ward 2? Communicate with them on a regular basis. How would you do that?
well, I would offer my phone number, I suppose, and an email address where they could contact me as well.
Okay.
So
So you're running against two other people. There are three. In fact, there are three in each ward, which I think is pretty good. 12 altogether.
that is a good thing.
Yeah, choices are always good. Sally, what sets you apart from your competition?
Well, I think there's a lack of a female voice, for one thing, in our existing and past common councils, from what I've seen. I don't know. I'll have a little different outlook. I have different experience than many I've seen that are serving and have in the past. So just having a different perspective, I think, is a representation of what we're supposed to be doing, is representing others. And I've been talking with my folks that live in Ward 2, asking their concerns. So it's communication and ability to listen. And, I'm concerned, so that's
Okay.
number one.
Okay.
I'm concerned and ready to take action, or the steps towards action.
And thinking about how the Common Council and the mayor operate, I mean, obviously the mayor has her responsibilities, her authority given our charter, and same with the Common Council. How do you see the working relationship between an effective alderperson and the mayor?
The group of us, or one-on-one?
Well, just yourself. How would you? In other words, what do you think if you're elected? How would you interact with the mayor? What's the best and most effective way for you to do that?
Well, I think as people in general, we all have commonalities, but I think we have to use our best skills, and I would be an active listener, ready to learn, and ready to do whatever for the good of the whole community. So I've been involved in teams and committees, and I think when you have a good team, you can get a lot of things done. But it's, and I'm not opposed to being told that if I've done something wrong so I can correct it. Speaking about doing things together, we saw the whole effort of the Seneca being built by a group of 50-some thousand volunteers. So when something needs to be done and there's a group that are like-minded and have one project in mind, I think that it is achievable. So I think we just have to kind of garner enthusiasm and some morale, for one thing. I think I can bring a lot of that.
Okay.
Love of community, and it's like, let's stick together. Let's not work, against each other.
Mm-hmm.
So,
How do you feel about this mayor's level of transparency and communication?
well, I've been to a couple of common council meetings, and what I've seen appears to be doing that. I think we're on the right track, really. I think Deborah, Mayor Kaufman, may I say, has done quite a bit, and I want to keep, I want to get on the team and help with that to continue. And I know we're trying to cut down on costs, but she certainly deserves a bigger salary than she's getting for all the issues that we have to tackle.
Yeah, I think if you boiled down her hourly rate, it wouldn't be a whole lot, would it?
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned earlier that in talking about your experience, you were a social welfare examiner,
Right.
social worker.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, what's your take on the homeless population here, the homeless issue?
Well, we can't wish them away. Sadly, it's a way of the world. Well, there are other coalitions that help with other groups. I mean, you don't want to, I guess, enable them, perhaps, but I've seen that a lot of people have no, social glue that holds them together, or, support system, such as family or whatever. So, I mean, in the past, churches have helped a lot, and I don't know, there are no simple solutions, certainly, but I think we can't just wish them away. And I think that some shelter has been given through, I think maybe in Utica, they're allowed to stay in a church, at least overnight.
Yeah, that's something we don't have here.
Yeah, exactly. So
Most of them are sleeping on benches.
I mean, some of these dilapidated homes can be repaired. We could, I don't know. We have to be creative in thinking of solutions, and maybe the homeless themselves could be involved in building a habitat for humanity. I didn't bring that term up. It's a term, or it's a actual thing.
Yes.
But perhaps something like that.
Okay. You mentioned you wanted to be on the team. Team members don't always agree on things. If you strongly disagreed with another colleague, or a colleague totally disagreed with you, how do you approach that give and take?
Well, sometimes things can't be resolved, but ultimately we're going to have to make a decision, right or wrong, or whether I agree with it or not. The majority's going to win in the Common Council, but I mean, I can certainly voice my concerns and my ward's concerns if it does, include them in the decision, and at least be heard. So that's the thing, is be heard, and don't just say yes because everybody's saying yes. Weigh out the decision and how it's going to affect the whole.
Okay. And where would you like to see the city 5 years from now?
I'd like to see more businesses and more homeowners.
More homeowners.
More homeowners.
Housing's a bit of a problem here, isn't it?
Yes. We live in a global society, and some people are allowed to work from home, but not all. So, just got to include businesses that are going to keep people here. I don't know.
Okay.
It's a long-term project.
It certainly is. So, final thoughts? On your election?
Well, let me see here. I think I already said about the involvement of the community and perhaps holding public forums to keep, since everybody doesn't attend the Common Council meetings, once in a while, perhaps we could have a public forum in one of the schools or something, have an assembly. It could include all ages, citizens that are taxpayers as well as, youth that want to see how the process works a little bit. I think that might be a good thing, and then that might inspire some youth to get involved in government and community affairs.
Well, they are streamed. I guess that helps, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how many people actually watch that, but it is out there available.
Right. I mean, we have the great festivals, the Canal Days, the Garlic Fest, the Cheese Fest. I'd like to see revived. We used to have the third Thursdays to promote businesses. Mm-hmm. Perhaps something like that should and could be revived.
Yeah, that went by the wayside, didn't it?
Yes, because, people get tired of always being the ones that organize things, I'm sure. So maybe we could, I say we, maybe I, maybe we. It always takes a group. It's not always one person. Could revive something like that or something a little different.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you doing this. Thanks for taking the time. I think it's really important that people meet the candidates and find out what they're thinking and how they're going to do things.
Well, thank you for asking me.
Oh, you're very welcome.
It's been a good experience.
So that's Sally Casler running in Ward 2. The election is November 4th. Early voting is October 25th. Please exercise your right to vote. And again, thank you for watching.